All right, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Bookmap Academy meeting. We do this every Thursday, so the goal here is we offer the ability for traders to journal their trading activity, mark up their charts, and then we will go through it like in this event or posting it in the Discord Bookmap Academy chat room, and you can get feedback also from everybody else in there, and building out your playbook. Understanding order flow, using it as an edge, and building out your playbook. If you guys are interested in this, go to bookmap.com. You can click on the More button here, and then under Community, you'll see Bookmap Academy here, and you can apply. You can read through the processes in here. You can get Bookmap for free. In fact, we have for the Academy members some specials that they're getting free access to some unique tools, and that's only through the Academy. All right, so you can work your way up through the steps here, become a coach, etc. Get data for free, etc. So it's an onboarding to your trading, basically, and along with the community. Just a few notes, a few housekeeping things before we get started, is we have verification here within our Bookmap channel. So if you go over to Bookmap, I'll show you where it is. You'll see it here, verification. And if you haven't verified your bookmap.com email, you will need to do that soon. So I would suggest do it now. Go through the process now. You can use your phone, take the QR screenshot code here, and here's a link down here as well. Elite Trader Workshop. I think that's the wrong link. Anyway, you get up and running within Bookmap with your credentials in the Discord community, and you're good to go. We had the onboarding webinar last Tuesday, 1 p.m. So this is all for new traders in Bookmap, and maybe they haven't connected it to data yet, or have some questions, etc. And we'll go through that process and get you up and running. Download the platform, subscribe to data, connect to data, and then start to access a lot of the symbols in Bookmap. All right, so let's jump in here and start going through the content in here. Let's see. We got a whole lineup tonight. It's great to have all the coaches in here, and let's see here. I've got let's see. There was a few that I wanted to go through from last few weeks that we never got to. There was Laura, there was Valley Fan, there's Shark Baloo. Stephen, I think we went through you and covered you recently. Let's see, there are a few others that I don't see in here at the moment. Maybe Trading is Life as well. So let's take a look here. Does anyone have any of those traders? I think I saw a Valley Fan in here. I'm not sure. You have, Stan, you have him.
Malexin.
Yeah.
Okay.
As well.
I got Valley Fan.
Oh, okay. You've got Valley Fan. Okay. Let's see. Right here. This is yours, Vinny? Looks like it.
Yes, that's mine.
Okay. All right. So let's go. Let's kick it off with Valley Fan, and welcome to the stage, Valley Fan. It's been a while.
Hey, what's going on? How you guys been?
Good. How are you? You've been
great.
Pretty busy.
Like really? Yeah. I've with being with Bear Bull Traders and kind of being that Bookmap contact and teaching everybody there has like kept me pretty busy, along with a couple other communities that I focus on Bookmap with. So trying to get back here. I didn't mean to like disappear for a little while, but it was ski season, and that's when I do tend to disappear to go to other things.
Perfect.
No worries. Vinny, take it away, and Valley Fan, take it away. Let's go through what you got here.
Yeah, let me just go ahead and bring it up over here and watch the stream. There we go. Okay, Valley Fan. Yes, I have you, and I heard all about you being a mod of the world for everybody. I'm very impressed.
Oh, thank you.
Nice
Thank you.
going.
You're trading too. I've followed your trading quite a bit, and I think we've kind of come into the Bookmap community around like the same time. We kind of progressed like
Yeah,
around
yeah.
the same time too. So I've definitely been watching a lot of your stuff. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, me, you, and Jack have done some DM online stuff together, right, in a room. But yeah, I saw your trade over here that you posted a couple days ago, and when I was looking at it, I'm like, wow, this is like a super chart. I was like, there are so many aspects of this chart that when I got the Bookmap coaching assignments, I was like, I got Valley Fan. I'm like, oh, this is awesome, totally cool. So I'm really happy about this. I really wanted to go over with this chart with you because there are two different aspects to this chart with your trading, and there's two ways to really kind of play this, and I'll just go over it really quick. I can see your chart over here. Just real quick, when I saw consolidation. You're going from one extreme to the other, resistance to consolidation. And you hit your targets. Support to your targets. I thought this was really good. I noticed the resistance up above. That's 54.75, and you also got your liquid support. So when I see this I tend to kind of maybe hold off and wait until I see some type of a break, because sometimes I would just get caught up in this consolidation, and before I know it, I'm down like 2 trades. Actually, and that's actually what happened this morning, right? When I first started, right? When the market opened up, I was like 0 for 2. I hit a couple of break evens. My stop losses. So, but you have a really good talent to be able to go ahead and play this. So I'm really impressed, and maybe you can tell us a little bit more a little bit later about this. But I noticed also something that I look to, and this maybe the audience can also take a look at this aspect to this trade as well. Potential trade setup would be once the consolidation is broken, right? So your resistance turned into support, and that's on the right side hand of the screen over here. And this is what I look for. All right. And you noticed it as well, because you mentioned it as well. You missed this move, and that's another question I wanted to ask you. Later on, and you can give us an answer later on. You took your consolidation trade, which is great, and I wanted to ask you, how come were you a little nervous about maybe not taking the second trade when the resistance broke and formed support? And this is really good, because when it breaks, right, you have your pullback. And this is a place where I would typically kind of enter. And then you have your targets all set up. You listed them. You have liquid targets too, which could have got you 18 points. And you have the other liquid target down there at 36 points. So that would be one aspect to this type of a setup. So there's two ways to really play this. And that's what I kind of saw. And I really like the way your talent is to be able to go back and forth with the consolidation. I'm really impressed with that. And there was the other aspect of this trade for the break, pullback, and then short this. And that's all I have to say for now. And I thought maybe David, 911, help. You're next. Have anything that you like to add on this with Valley Fan's awesome setup here?
Cheers, buddy. I appreciate the pass, and nice to have Valley Fan back with us. So, and we'd all like to hear more about the skiing, I'm sure, but we're here for trading, David, as we say. The theme I've got here really is, and we're going to see that a little bit later when we look at Alex, that I'm covering in that. And as you rightly say, it's where support becomes resistance, vice versa, and everything else. It's those levels. It's looking forward on your charts in terms of what you anticipate and what you think and feel the price might be doing, and then mixing in, as I call it, those sort of voodoo areas, whether it's high of the day, whether it's ORB, got to get that in there, whether it's VWAPs, VPOCs, and everything else, and then trading accordingly. So that's the sort of theme that I'm going to throw in. But I'm now going to throw the ball out to Stan, please.
Yeah, nothing to say. Just great. Yeah, great use scaling. You took directly some off. And I'm just wondering if you had reason at that time to exit at break even, if it was a reason that you mentioned before, or
Yeah,
just what you feel at the time.
because I have no idea, like minute to minute, what sort of tweet or news release or whatever is going to come out that my trade will just doesn't work. So like here on this one, I want to be in and out like as fast as possible because I literally don't know. Still, really, even up to this week. This week was really good for me and things were reacting well, but there was just less of that. Just minute by minute, you don't know what like who's going to say something, who's going to tweet something, and the market's just going to like go crazy, up, down, up, down, up, down. Then you get stopped out, you still get your move, but you're still just trying to like trust your strategy. So like this was just like I want to be in and out like as fast as I can. My level was holding. I saw it like I took the entry. It kind of gave a little weak test over the top of that, swing high that I was playing off of, and so I added. But then as soon as we started getting down to those swing lows, I'm taking big partials. I'm out, out, out profit, and then kind of came back up and retested. I was looking later to take another entry and add there, but I was like, I don't know right now. Like I really don't. I'd just rather be out. And I did. I watched it play out. My level was still holding. And before, yeah, I would add there, partial out a little bit more, and then add, keep adding in and partialing out. But I did. I missed that big move because I didn't know. I didn't know what was going to happen minute to minute. And I was just like, I'm in and out. I'm happy with what I got. So I'll just keep it at that.
Yeah, and that's perfect.
Hey,
You
Bruce, I
managed
don't mean to
to time the move.
interrupt. Could you bring up my other chart, please?
This one.
Valley fan.
This one.
Yeah, the other one. Yeah, that one.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if you showed that before. Yeah.
No, I didn't. Geez, Vinny.
Oh, okay.
That's a lot of work. Nice.
No, that's Vinny added up on top of it, so you
Yeah.
can see what Veilfan was doing.
Yeah. So this is what I was describing before, just in case I guess maybe the rest of the coaches didn't really understand what I was saying. But this is what I was talking about before, Valley Fan, with your resistance, see your consolidation. And so this is the consolidation in which you were really, you were playing, going back and forth, the consolidation. Yeah. This is something that someone can really get caught up in a little bit, and you can get chopped, right? So this is something that I actually kind of watch, and I wait for the break, which you notice on the right hand side. So when it broke that support and it became resistance, it had a pullback, and that's was someplace where I would go ahead and enter. And again, that's where your targets are. You had 18 points and 36 points. So that was my question before that I wanted to ask, because you were trading the consolidation. You have a talent to be able to do that. And I know you mentioned in your write-up you had R3s, and I really don't play that. And maybe you can share some of your insights on that as well, and how you apply that in your consolidation trade here. And also, I wanted to ask you, since you did notice you missed this move, you noticed it. Why didn't you go ahead and enter that? I didn't know, maybe because we were a little gun shy because of what happened in your consolidation trade. So that was my question, and I'm sorry if I overlooked that.
Oh no, it's I mean, but it still goes back to the same. I see things, and so trades start to work out, but you don't know with some of the news and like the chaos and kind of that's been going off, and with the T word now, and so you see it, you're like, that's great, that's a great setup. Like I want to take that, but will somebody tweet something here in a minute, or will something happen, and then like I don't get my trade, and then I'm like, well, what's going on? And so for me right now, I've had to make a lot of adjustments that have paid off this week of just in like in as tight as I can get, 2-to-1, and I'm out because I don't know right now with how things in the price action are. I just don't know. So I'm like in tight on my range, and then I'm out like 2 to 1, like just a one in and out trade. But before I would love to take advantage of this kind of stuff. Partialing out big, getting a big profit, and then really going big to try to get that little leg you're talking about. Yeah, I would have loved to have taken advantage of that. I would have loved to have added right where that point you're talking about, but it's just hard to read that nowadays, not knowing what's going to happen.
Okay. Yeah, because you had the liquidity on your chart. I mean, you were using that in the consolidation.
Mhm.
So that was just my question. I was just wondering if, and for me, this is the type of trade that I actually kind of look for. I look for the consolidation and wait for the break. And that's what happened on the right-hand side of the screen. And again, you saw it, and that's why I was just curious why you didn't take advantage of it. I didn't know if you were gun shy because of the consolidation, if that makes sense.
Well, the cams that I trade and kind of strategy I trade, it's levels. I mean, basically, it's just levels and where you're
Got it.
expecting to see certain price action. And this, at the beginning on the left-hand side, and this type of price action where I'm getting that support for my trade or that resistance for the buying and trade to go long, that I had the confidence to take the entry. And then even when kind of the area I was thinking about like stopping out and looking at there, even when that got tested, I was like, oh, this is a really weak test. Everything looks to be good, so I'm going to add. And then I'm taking bigger partials than what I would normally take on those swing lows and trying to get that little bit of profit. And yeah, I did. I got shaken out because the price action still looked good, but I was like, I don't know right now. Like I'm good, so let me just cut this and miss out on.
But you went
all.
short on this, right? You went short on this, right?
Yeah, I went short.
Yeah. Yeah, so your entry was good there, and then you entered again. You added right at the top of resistance, and then you took your partials down low in your white triangles. So it looks like you
Mhm.
did pretty good here.
Yeah, I did. Like it was a good
Yeah, so
trade, but I would have loved to have been more aggressive on it after I got what I wanted out of it. But it's at this point where like, man, I've made my goal and a little bit more, so maybe I'll just get out today. And then I look at
yeah,
that and
and
I
it
look
sounds
at it
like
later. I'm like, God damn, I could have really maximized this one.
So, Vinny, I have a
well, you
question.
did good because you.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead, Bruce. I'm
No,
sorry.
I'm interrupting. Go ahead.
No, I'm done.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm finished. Go ahead.
No, I had a question for you, Vinny, because like I hear Valifan on this, like, holy cow, like, I mean, there's some really sharp moves in here that were, I don't know what they were, and like here, and then I think there was I saw another, maybe it was more to the right, or to the
Well,
left, but
Bruce, I think when you were doing your all market, I think that's when this trade took place. I think that's when I took this trade. And we were kind of like
ah,
discussing, you were talking about like during that, like I don't know, like what was this big jump up? I saw that big jump up and it kind of hit my R3 level and then it rejected quickly. And I was like,
yeah,
okay, now I'm interested. But I think this was a trade I took while you were discussing and going through there. And I kind of started to see my levels hold a little bit, and I saw a good A+ entry, so I took that entry, and then I added. But I think this was the trade that I took while you were talking about like the market, like what are we getting here? Like some of this price action, and like this just doesn't even hold to what you're typically looking for and expecting. And so I think that was this trade that I took during
yeah,
that class.
yeah, I think you're right. Uh, but Vinny, no, my question is uh, to you, and then I think Vinny just dropped. Oh no. Um, anyway, I mean this chopped all day or several hours, put it that way. So what I'm just kind of curious about is oh, Vinny's back. Okay, so Vinny, like this chop for like several hours in here, and the mental resources it takes like to finally wait, see this break and wait for a pullback as well. Aren't you burned out at this time of day?
You can be for sure. You can be. I mean, for example, this morning was a challenge as well, right at the open. It was chopping back and forth, and sometimes you just maybe you need to have a good night's sleep. But yeah, sure enough, I mean, you can get mentally tired for sure. I got hit a couple of times. I don't want to take the stage away from Valley Fan, but yeah. And then I just moved on to another account that I had, started fresh, and I just felt a little more rejuvenated. And so that's the way I adapt to something like this. But you're right. You can get mentally tired, couldn't you, a Valley Fan?
Well, oh, absolutely. I think I don't know if you saw the like 4 posts that I posted up today, which I was so happy with today and in this week how I did, because it was a test of patience like for me today, because everything was in a selling range. All of my setups and everything I was looking at, like it hit early and went. And so I missed like a bunch of trades. And I've got friends and like we're talking and they're hitting all their trades and they're excited. And I'm just sitting there and I'm like, but I'm not going to chase. So I missed my trade. I think I threw one up on Google, or like I nailed the entry, but it didn't come back and get it. And then it went. And it's like, okay. So I set my alerts, and that's kind of like that mental part of how do you release yourself a little bit from, watching this price action. Well, I go back and I find my level and I know where that price action is. So I set my alert there. And then I move on to something else. I started working like on other projects and, talking to other traders about Bookmap and doing all that. My alerts go off and I see it and I bring it up. And then I'm mentally fresh to like look at everything again and determine whether or not this is a valid trade. Am I getting my setups? Is this going to be an A+ setup? Can I get my 2-to-1 right now? And I did. I waited out. Everybody else was done with their day. Like they were all happy. And I'm still sitting there like, okay, I don't have a trade yet. And then kind of a futures trade came up on the Russell 2000s, and I nailed that one. And then another trade came up on Apple. I nailed that one. And then later MES or ES came up to my R3 level again and retested on a trade I had missed in the pre-market, and I nailed that one. I'm just like, it can get, watching this consolidation and waiting for things to get to your level and your range, it can be exhausting. But that's just why I set my alerts and put that together. And then that way, when it comes back there, it's fresh for me. I'm looking at it completely objective, and I'm still just looking for the specific things I need to take my entry and to get my trade. And so that kind of takes some of that mental energy off for me, at least.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. Let's see. Any other comments? Jack, I don't know if anything you wanted to add. Jack is here.
He posted he was just dropping out for Mo.
Okay.
But,
okay.
Hello, I'm back.
Okay.
Oh, good. I want you to critique this for me, Jack. And critique. No, I love Jack because he's like he'll give it to. He's real. That's why him and I message about stuff, quite a bit, even recently, and he's just always
I think that
real
most
with me.
of the
I love it.
commentary was fine for the most part. I think that there's nothing wrong with getting out of the trade because you don't know what's going on. I think that your particular location to get out was probably not great. You should have just left it at the swing versus where you were before, because you've got support there. It didn't breach when it came back to it again, so you still would have been in the trade there. And then the other critique is more just because I know your style. I'm kind of curious why you didn't take the breakout, because that probably would have been a great trade, but you didn't miss the pullback, which is great. So, well, were you not looking at the breakout right there, or just chilling?
No, I was watching, and I was watching the whole thing happen. But I don't know. Like, is this news? Is this something coming out? Is it going to pull back up and then run squeeze higher?
Strategies, right? So you don't want to break habits too much. I mean, there's nothing wrong with getting out of a trade because you don't like it, but I've also seen a lot of your trades, and you would have really liked that breakout.
It's when there's more stability and stuff, I'll take advantage of these things like I normally do. But I need to see that stability.
Just make sure you journal it then. Just make sure you write it down
I do.
in the journal, and you're good. Yeah. Other than that, like I said, there's not really much more to say. Those are the basic things, but some of that is just literally knowing most of your trades, right? Like I see a lot of your
Mhm.
trades, so some of that feedback's kind of different than some other people would be probably.
Yeah, no, I love your feedback though, because you're just real with me, and so I love it.
Yeah. No, other than that, I mean, all the things are there. I definitely would have had a stop limit above the swing where you
Mhm.
ended up just flattening on your own,
Yeah.
because that would have
Yeah.
just you could have just chilled there. And again, like if you've got it set up right in your orders, like you're not going to get slipped. Like you're already in the market, right? You're not going to get
Mhm.
filled on a market order. You are liquidity there. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think it's a safer exit than trying to get flat. But other than that, yeah, all normal things.
All right. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah. Thanks, Valifan. Let's see here. Let's see. You've also got John, Vinny. So let's go over John and
Sure.
and then we'll go over I think Shark Baloo and with Stan. I think Stan's got him.
Yeah, this is Vinny. I'll make this quick because John's trades are just, they're just like a robot, mechanical. And, I was looking at his trades, from a couple months ago to even now, and he's really went from good to great. He probably read that book by Collins, the Good to Great Leadership book, because it shows on his trades here. His checklist is spot on. I saw his spreadsheet. His spreadsheet is just outstanding. Well documented, and he has his system in place. And there's really not much more to add over here. I can let John go ahead and talk a little bit more about his trade once all the coaches provide some feedback. My only thing I would add in here would be, he really went ahead and had a nice entry there in the top left. It's right, I would just add a trend break in there, even if you could even want to add that, which was really good. And then some orders were pulling lower, and I really like this too because the orders were pulled lower, and it also looks like it went from yellow to red. So they were adding on to the second target as well, and that's just where he went ahead and took his exits on the first target and then his second target. So I thought it was just really, really outstanding the way he went ahead and executed this trade. It's just terrific. And I just had one question to ask John, and maybe he can think about it before he speaks. Your checklist is great. Your spreadsheet is great. Your system, good to great. And you use the hero chart. You're our hero here in the room. So and I just wanted to ask you about another aspect of trading, that I don't think we've covered yet, is how do you deal with or approach a losing trade? For example, do you take a break? Do you go right back in? Do you shut it down? And if a circuit breaker is triggered that you have. And so that would be my first question. The second question is, can you share with us one of your most challenging trades and how you did to recover from it, as well as to get to the place where you are today with your system? And that would be my questions to John. Maybe you can provide us, share with some of his insights on that. And David, 911, how about you're next?
Love it. Hi, John. How's it been, fella?
Good, doing good. Thank you.
Excellent. It's been another week of I'm your wingman, you're my wingman, so to speak.
It's
John,
been great, early. Yeah.
it has. This is an RTH trade, isn't it, John?
It is. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Are you sure you took this one? I know I'm being a bit sarcastic.
Yeah. No. It just got real small, and it's my goodness, it's treacherous, but
Yeah.
I wake up in the morning. Sometimes I'll get a trade, sometimes I don't. But I do watch it throughout the day, and I practice, and I've kind of had to reestablish how I was going to go about this on the basis of size, and so you just had to take a little bit of adjustment time. I do enjoy the trading, and I've been doing a little bit. I was pretty active today throughout the day, as a matter of fact. and it just had to reduce size significantly.
Yeah. No, it makes
I think the
that
only
makes
way
sense.
you can do this if you're using a Delta One instrument is to reduce size. Like
Yeah.
you just can't any other way.
Yeah.
No,
Oh,
that's a big
beautiful,
reason why I've
beautiful.
been using options so much, especially futures options.
But with vol so high, isn't that tough, Jack? I mean,
So, well, for us, right? Like we're targeting not just liquidity levels, but gamma levels, right?
Yeah.
So if we use an out of the money fly structure,
okay.
you reduce theta and volatility at that point. You turn it more into a delta trade versus a
Okay.
volatility trade.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it doesn't
Yeah,
have the same loss metrics, but once it's on, you really can't get out of it. Like so, the $1.20 that you put up for it, that's pretty much what you're going to pay for it. And getting out of
Yes.
it, it's pretty much rough. Like you're always
Yeah.
going to lose if you don't get the direction right. If you get the direction right, though, it's great.
Right. Right. Right.
So, Vinny, I'm sorry, John. I don't know if you heard some of the questions Vinny had for you.
I did, and I can answer both together. I am driven to process, and as long as I'm following my process, I keep trading. If I'm not following my process, well, then that's a different story, and that'll stop me down. And sometimes you're good, you're sharp. I don't know what I did this morning, but I was spot on. I have to figure out what vitamins I took this morning. But some days, it's not the case, and I use my process as an indicator. If I'm not following my rules, and I'm not engaged and focused toward my process, then that's what I use. That's the red light. Um, Process that's pretty much intact. Really comfortable with what I do, and as long as I'm doing it, I'm good to go. Of course, I have a circuit breaker if I really start to mess up. But if I'm not following my process, I'll stop before I hit that circuit breaker as far as an overall loss for the day. So that's how I approach that, Vinny.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, throwing it right back at Bruce.
Let's see. Uh, yeah, funny one, John. I mean, these all look the same to me, which kind of reverts back to like what you just had mentioned about process. I mean, you got your higher time frame level in here with your VWAP. You've also recognized the the net buyers in here and the high liquidity, the break through it, and then here now you're looking for that weakness in the break below it.
Right.
And this one here, like, God, I mean, I saw you getting in up here like the last several weeks, and it always kind of like scared me a little bit, like I had mentioned. But this here like makes total sense to me.
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
I would be looking for the follow through to the downside, but not up here. I just been stopped out enough that
Mhm.
I just don't feel comfortable with it.
Mhm.
Whereas these follow throughs are a little bit better. But now, how I guess you had mentioned now you're widening your stops out. So I see you say your stop is here,
Yeah.
but
No, I'm just playing smaller. My process hasn't changed.
Okay.
So I'm staying pretty tight with it. I'm just, I'm itty bitty size. And one of the reasons why I'm looking for this breakout, where I'm showing the short at number 7, the reason for that is because of the presence of liquidity still in the market at number 2, up
At
there at
number 2.
54.50. That's a problem.
Okay, I see. Yeah.
All right. So, yeah, in the past, I've been pretty aggressive trading off of VWAP at liquidity. But with that up there at 54.50, I needed to see a breakout of those net buyers, which is why I waited. And of course, I had volume coming into the market. One thing that I've adjusted my approach during this volatile time is that I want to get behind volume. I'm looking for those big fat dots to get behind, and that's the trigger behind my trades. I look for everything else in my process, but that's something that I've adjusted. I want to go with that influx of volume that comes in with the market, like what you see here.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, great stuff. And yeah, picture perfect with the targets as well. So let's see. Did this finally hit down here? Your higher time frame, the 5400.
I think I added a chart in there. It shows, see chart number 2. There's a trade management chart. Do you have the chart that follows that? It did not, and I showed the management of the trade. I guess it's not in there.
Okay.
So it basically went down to that liquidity at 5406. Yeah, right down in there, and it started to really pause and reverse, and I believe I moved my target over.
Got you. Yeah. I don't know. Stan, David, Jack.
Yeah, that was mentioning exactly the same as you, Bruce. I really like the entry. But yeah, everything makes sense. I'm just wondering in this case if you were looking for your options flow or not. I don't see it mentioned in the checklist. So I was a
Yeah,
bit.
it by default, Stan, I use it. I in this, I guess I went through a couple of days where I just wanted to focus on Bookmap, and I thought, well, I'll just leave the hero chart out because it's by default. I need to have option flow, and then I decided, well, it's such a part of what I do. I better include it. So there were a couple of days there that I thought maybe it's not good for me to spend so much time talking about spot gamma in the Bookmap channel, but it is part of what I do. In this trade, it was huge, so yeah, that's the reason for that. But the answer to your question is that Hero had negative option flow for sure.
Perfect. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, only comment that I had.
So like up there where I was saying where I got short, I did micros, right? So I'm doing 3, 3, and 3. So I'm entering with 3, and as I see those large volume dots, Bruce, I'm tapping the button and heading. So I'm kind of legging into it, and I'm real small now.
Yeah.
So that helps me with my execution. Yeah. And then 3 off, 3 off, and 3 off.
Yeah. I mean, like, I always kind of reiterate or underscore this. Something that is not on. You mentioned, John, that is not on the chart is your higher time frame. You have your VWAP, but your higher time frame options.
Yeah.
And that's just so critical. Like, because then it's just mechanical entries and exits.
Now, are you talking about the levels or hero?
I'm talking about the hero levels.
Okay.
Or
well,
I guess you don't have your levels in here.
Well, there just weren't any in this instance.
Okay.
They weren't in this range, so I wasn't trading off of a level, but they're on there. That's an automatic. It just wasn't a part of this trade. This was all hero, option flow, and liquidity. It was VWAP to liquidity. That was the trade.
Yeah.
Short VWAP to liquidity.
Yeah, nice, and really great to hear about adjusting. You're, having to adjust, and you've mentioned it in every single webinar for the last few months that you're trying many different things here, different markets, different time of day, now different sizing, and you're adjusting, and still just kicking butt here. So really nice.
Thank you.
I don't know, Jack, David.
No, I mean, this is just one of those staple trades. It's just when you get the trend and you're going in the right direction, you try to stay out of your own way, hit your targets, and there's not really a lot to say. I can tell like it's one of those trades where gamma is like really thin, so You just kind of want to let the direction move, and because the market could just move further than you realize.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Perfect.
It's a
Yeah,
good
I
trade.
echo all of that, Bruce, as well. It's we're all saying it's executing strategically, surgically, and all those words around that, working down, making sure you've got the gorilla in the room behind you in terms of options and everything else, and we've got the volume bars at the bottom, the failed breakout above, bang,
Mhm.
in you go. And I love it that you're legging in as well, John. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Just another comment, Vinny. I just wanted to mention. It's really great to see this. Like, I mean, your efforts in here with Vale fan, also John. I mean, with John's, there's not much to mark up. He's already got it all in there. But it's just funny. It seems so ingrained in you with your process that you've applied it now to other people's charts. it's pretty nice.
I hope I'm not overdoing it.
Yeah, I mean it's a lot on the chart, but it's really great. You've got all of these enumerated elements in here for a target or the whole setup, etc. And it's ingrained in your mindset now. So it's
Thank you.
yeah, really really nice stuff.
I think that's so important. I think that's so important for a trader to have that. I do the same thing when I look at a chart, somebody else's. I say, "Oh God, let me put mine on so I can figure out, where we are." I think that's huge. Yeah, great, Vinny.
Well, thank you. Yeah, John. And here's another one that you have. You answered. You provided you shared your insight with us. Your structure remains in place, and you let the process play out. And here's just another example. You really kind of zeroed in on your time scale. You got 2 minutes down here at the bottom, so you're really kind of really looking very close. Which is a big asset. Again, good to great. Your checklist is up there, terrific. You even have, and there's really not much I can add to your charts other than you got some passive orders absorbed, and then just as that was occurring, you went ahead and you entered your long trade, and you just followed it right, the structure right on up, let the process play out. You have your time scale in place, and your targets are in place, and the liquidity is evident right on the book. So you have your first target and you have your second target right where you exit, and you have your stop in place. So you have a really good risk reward ratio. So bravo to you. And and let's go ahead and move on to Stan. So Stan, you have any input?
Yeah, again, I really like the entry with the cluster. Target makes sense. Yes, management makes sense. No, not a lot to say. Just great trader as usual. I don't know if David already checked.
Yeah, sure. If I remember rightly, sorry to cut across you, Jack. This, John, was the other morning, wasn't it? This is when there
Yeah,
was
the London Open. Yeah.
Yeah, and the theme I've got on this one, and I don't know if we had a little bit of chat within Spot Gamma, with people. They're sort of they'll see you get into this trade, they'll see I get into this trade, and it's just that we use the word, reps and sets, muscle memory, that sort of thing. You're looking at how the market's coming. You're seeing there how the volume is building up. You're seeing how the targets, how the liquidity is coming in, and you're ready to hit the mouse. You're ready to take those trades. So when they come together, you're not thinking about it. You're not sort of putting a slide rule across it. You are ready to fight.
That comes with the checklist and the repetitions and everything else.
It does.
Right?
It does.
I mean, that's the biggest thing. That's the thing we harp on with the journaling, is to build up these repetitions and to make sure that you have the tools that you need to do these things. Because the flip side is, once you get them set up, you can execute just like this, right? Like the market moves the direction you want. You know exactly what you're looking for. You're in and you're out of a trade. You're not really looking at specific, nuances.
That's it. You're not looking at a news feed going, hang on, the market's just gone up 15 points. Why is that? What's happened? No, the market's moving. Take the trade. End of. As you've seen me do, Bruce.
It's a
Yeah.
consistent sequence really helps me to stay on top of it. I do the same sequential process, and so I can see these things building. So, like you say, when it
Exactly.
does happen, I'm on it. I've already checked off my list in the order that I check it every time.
Yeah, it does. But as you say, this open the other day, I know you and I were mirroring this, weren't we
Yeah,
together, literally to the point,
yeah, yeah.
as if we're in the same room, Bruce.
Yes, quite a bit of distance, but they're remarkable. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
Well, this is just Vinny once again. I don't mean to interrupt, but yeah, just to cap everything regarding some feedback. You know how you adjust, John, is you scale back in this kind of a market, and also with Valley Fund, he's very disciplined. He disciplines himself, and then he also refreshes himself, and that's the only comments I have. Right to you, Bruce.
Oh, just John, I don't have a higher kind of time frame here to kind of get some reference to. It's a little different than what you usually do here. It's trading into, and you're looking for it to trade through that liquidity. So maybe can you give us some details about that? Like you know that it was it's trading. Those limit sell orders are trading. But so what is the dynamic you're looking for in there? That there's just so much buying pressure, it's just going to annihilate that, and you know it's going to go. If it does, it's likely to go to your next two targets here. Or is this the open, and is the time of day? What was the impetus here for?
yeah, it's both. It's a time of the day. It's the open. There's a flurry of orders that are coming in. I'm showing the volume at the volume bars below.
Yeah,
So you've got volume coming in there. And yeah, I'm going to place my targets in. And if it hesitates at VWAP, typically I don't trade through VWAP, or at least I take a partial through it, which is what I did here. But, they were standing in the market. That liquidity was present in the market for a while. And so when we had that flurry of volume came in, I just worst thing that I need to do is just execute the exits. But I was comfortable with those levels being taken out. Yeah, and it's not a huge move. It's 10 handle push off the open, which is something that we see a lot at 3 a.m. at the London Open. So all those things
We do.
considered, yeah, that's how I planned it. Yeah.
got you. Okay, so you're waiting for it to trade, and then you're looking for the reaction after.
Um, yeah, well, it took it out. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay,
It went through that arresting liquidity. Absolutely. But the volume was just overwhelming. And I
got you.
thought this was going to carry through.
Got you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, because this happens. We get this question all the time from newer traders about like,
Yeah.
well, wait a minute. I thought it's supposed to hit liquidity and bounce and go a million miles the other way. And just it's really important to understand, or it's about the context here. So in this context, it's the open. There's massive volume. You're looking for it to just trade right through it. And there'd be way more aggressive buyers than there is passive sellers here. And you're looking for that. It's a quick move. You're looking for your targets to hit, and you're also closely managing it. Very tight stop, and like you said, you usually don't trade through your VWAP, but because of the time of day and the volume behind it.
Yeah. And then, lastly, the other thing is that the imbalance of liquidity was to the upside. You had that liquidity above at VWAP and at 54.54, and there was not much liquidity below. So um, the imbalance of liquidity was above
Gotcha.
my entry price, and so that plays into it as well.
Yeah.
And if I remember rightly, John, sorry, Bruce, options were with us as well. I think we had about 300 million plus that already sort of kicked
I
overnight.
don't remember, and actually, there was such that the overwhelming thing for me was the volume coming in at the
Agreed.
open.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
It probably did, David. I don't remember, but
I know they blur. I'm with you. They blur for me.
I just saw this developing, and I
Yeah.
thought, with that liquidity in the market. That's what caught my eye. And that actually really superseded everything else. I want to get in this, where this liquidity is being posted.
I love how you do that, John. It's like this is number one on your
Yep.
list. You know?
Always.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
It's the puck, right, David?
Yes, it certainly is the puck. It's Brent's puck. I've got to be careful how I say that.
Gate to the puck. Yep.
Hey,
That's right.
guys, let's. I want to pivot over to Jack. He's got to leave here pretty soon, so give him a chance to go through Shark. John, if you'd like to stay up on the stage, if you have any kind of input or comments, you're more than welcome. And then let's see here. Here we go. Jack, take it away.
That's me for Jack Blue.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Where's Jack's? I think this one then. You had Crypto Tower, Puck, and Mike M. Is that right? Are you in here, Jack?
Yeah, I'm here. What's up?
Okay. Would you like to go through some of these?
Yeah, we can go through this. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't see anybody here. Let's go to Mike M at the bottom, though.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is kind of, we were talking about using multiple tools. This is a great example of that. So what he's looking at here is he's looking at a specific volume size almost and a delta in the direction. And then he takes that to a level that he has predetermined. It's not necessarily like a risk reward. Like it could be 2 points away, but that's what he's trying to get to, right? And this is really, really interesting kind of technique of using multiple tools or a couple of services or however to kind of take a very interesting approach at a trade as opposed to, the standard risk reward metrics that a lot of traders might use for a Delta One instrument like futures or shares on a stock. So I thought that this was really interesting. He's not here. I wish I could have heard a little bit more about like his particular entry style, but I thought it was worth covering in general because I think that it's a really interesting take, and we haven't seen something like this in a long time.
Yeah, he's new and he's been doing some great work.
Yeah, he's one of the guys that David and I talked to in the Spot Gamma and then encouraged him to join the academy.
Oh, okay, great. I see his gamma levels, spot gamma levels, combo, and etc. LG4.
Yeah, that was another question I kind of had for him in general. Is that an add-on that he's using to place those from his cloud notes, or what? Or is he manually placing those and then has a label with them somehow? Because they are quite neat the way they are. Arguably better than the way I do it, that's for sure.
I don't know. I know people.
I'll ask him tomorrow or Monday when I see him.
Okay. Yeah, I know people are using price levels, but I imagine you probably already are, Jack.
Yeah, I used that before, but this is different. This one's different here.
Okay.
I don't know. I'll take a look at it. It's interesting.
Let's see. So I don't know. Any other comments, guys, on this one? It's a pretty. This environment here is so funny. Like, here we got.
It's a textbook kind of trade, right? Like he's got a chop of kind of consolidation, then he gets a big sell volume, and he's just riding the volume down, right?
Yep.
Like, this is a trend trade, right? This is what Veilfan's trade look like, right? Like this is the breakout portion of that trade, right? And then like the pullback is, where you get the buy orb right there. And I would be not surprised at all if this trade continued trending slightly lower for a little longer.
Yeah, it's a perfect one. I took a short counter trend trade on gold just before the close, and it's exactly that pattern where it's just failing at the top. It was failing at POC on gold. In comes the volume. The running stops one way. Bang, in you go. Market's moving. Take the trade. Chop. That's what it is. Yeah, love it, Bruce.
Yeah, Vinny or Stan, any comments?
Yeah.
Yep. So where this trade actually starts is back at 834, where up above near VWAP, we had some buy sweeps come into the market, which failed. That was the pivot right up there, right in there. Exactly. Yeah, those buy sweeps that came in there and they failed to take the market higher. They failed to reach that liquidity up there at 47, and then it started coming down. And then volume came into the market and he tagged it. And like Jack said, it's a trend continuation trade. But I think that was the pivot up there that said, okay, we're going to start looking down towards gamma, towards gamma at 32. Yeah.
I have about 4 more minutes, but I'd like to cover Puck if we have enough time, real quick, to kind of go over it. He's not in the Discord yet either.
Okay.
He's the first trade.
Which one? This one?
Number 1.
Okay.
So this one was also really interesting. This is so if you're a volume profile trader, this is kind of what you would be looking for in a volume profile for NQ. You'd be looking for heavy consolidation or heavy volume to have taken place at a specific node. And then Bruce, if you can go to the next image for me. And then when you break down from that node, you're expecting a strong move to another node. Now, one of the reasons why you want to track some of these nodes from time to time or throughout multiple days is because a lot of times we'll come back to those levels and those futures will end up having some sort of balance that'll occur and you'll get a lot of consolidation right there. So this is a great order flow example from high volume node through a low volume node into another high volume node that spans essentially multiple days. This is a really great example that was posted on Twitter. So I wanted to highlight that real quick.
Yeah. Stan or Vinny, any comments?
Yeah, this is.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Stan.
yeah, you can go if you want.
Oh no, I don't really have much to say other than I noticed the subchart with the CVD was at an extreme as well, and that's another asset that can be applied to this trade. And that's it.
Yeah, all right, perfect. Yeah, I don't know if we have other images or more explanation about the trend. Or
We do have some here.
yeah,
Passive
yeah.
liquidity walls taken completely.
Yeah, it's nothing to say. Yeah.
So this goes back to what Jack was
Yeah, exactly.
saying about catastrophic. I mean, there's just so much selling. If it can go through it, it's going. Yeah. I mean, again, like for a lot of newer traders, they see this in Bookmap and they go, oh my God, look at all that liquidity. And it might only be like 6 orders. It's not 6 orders, but like, I mean, the NQ is so thin right now. It's just unbelievable. But so, it just cuts right through it. And this is a really good sign that there's just a ton of selling pressure. Look for the continuation. And then, like Jack was saying, start to mark up your levels, liquidity, nodes, etc. I mean, look at your 600, just blazed right through it like nothing. A little bit of liquidity there, but not an important level. Here is the half figure as well, not an important level. It's the liquidity level that was a bit more. Looks like. Let's see. David, any comments on that, or John?
It would just be, sorry, John, just be a broad one. I know Scott was really keen. I've not watched him for a little while, Bruce, in terms of looking at these sort of market profile levels over multiple days to see where there could be some support and resistance. I think Stephen's got a question in terms of like you rightly say, these things are really thin today. What were they perhaps like a good few years back in terms of thickness? I'll be honest, Stephen, I can't remember. My broad pub talk would be is that, and Jack's dropped off now, is that as those sort of options have exploded into the zero DTE, tasty trade, and all that sort of thing, I think a lot of boys and girls are now trading those, whereas maybe X years ago they were trading NASDAQ futures for the sort of quick fix, hit it hard sort of thing. But Bruce, I don't know if you can remember what levels we used to have on the book back years ago, or you, John?
Oh,
Or anyone?
I mean, double digits. I mean, there's a
Double,
few singles in there, but like you know, basically kind of what the ES looks like now. The Nasdaq used to
okay,
kind of look
okay,
like.
it was right, yeah.
I mean, maybe a little less, but this is ridiculous. I mean, I see like you know, it's like this big
Yes.
block of red. It's like everyone's got like five contracts there or something, you know.
I would have said it before, and I know you trade a little bit of the Russell at times, John. And it's when I used to trade with Tom. You'd put an order in, Bruce, and you would there would be nothing there. So like you take those threes at the top, you put in chunk, and the number would go off, and you'd have. I know it's not really funny, but you'd be like, yeah, that's me there. Suddenly it becomes 7. That's me. I've just you notice it. You don't really notice it on a yes. Right. Sorry, John. I keep talking over you, mate.
No, you're fine. No, I think what Jack said about how the volume profile came into place, and it'll be interesting. I know Bruce, you had been talking about that newer version of Bookmap that's being developed to show multiple days, yeah, long periods of time. So it would be interesting to go back and highlight these profiles over time and see how they play in with liquidity and pivot points.
Yeah, it's in that longer or zoom out version of Bookmap
Yeah.
at the moment. It's fantastic. The indicators and the columns will not work though for it at the
I see.
moment.
So that won't go. I see.
Yeah, not at the moment. But anyway, yeah, we're trying to get candlesticks on it at least here soon.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, just like Jack was saying, I mean, here, what is this? A previous, yesterday's value area here, right? He's got it already marked up. This, I forget who else was saying this. Maybe you, David. Like, you're all set, you're all prepared, or maybe it was Vinny regarding John. And he knows his levels. He knows where it's looking to go. He's got it marked up, and beautiful move. Clear all the way down to it.
Because that's brutal volume, isn't it? Broadly, it's almost 750, 800 against nothing before. That really is. We're going down.
Yeah, that is just brutal. But yeah, I don't know. Stan, John.
No.
Yeah, nothing more to add. I really like the volume, but yeah, not a lot to say. More not to explain, but yeah.
Okay. Let's see. I mean, it's a funny thing. Like, I don't know how you guys, and maybe this is kind of like a bigger discussion. Maybe maybe we come across someone's image or markups in here, but like the liquidity levels, you just see these kinds of moves. I have at least like just right to it, and then a reversal, or then a move right the other way. So I mean, the market it's thin, it's skittish, and a lot of setups that we, like Valley Fan was saying, that we typically use are maybe not working or have to be amended or edited some way, because it's just it's just not working in a lot of cases. So yeah, I don't know if that's more of a point of discussion, and I do have an image actually from maybe I'll just jump into it from and I don't know if she's in here, from Laura. Laura is out. It's too bad. But something that she did, and I just cover it quickly, I think, is she knows she's getting emotional in here, and things are volatile and not working quite right, and she's trading in demo, so she moved over to demo, and still following things, but she's also taking some trades in here that she would not take before. So feeling it out, getting a kind of a feel for the way the market and the price action is different. So like this one here, especially, like it just I was really surprised how I guess I can go in this way. Yeah. This is not her trade, to short up at the top of the range with volume, like, buying pressure up in here. Now there is some liquidity in here, so it's kind of, bluish, but she does see a little exhaustion, a little bit of selling, but this is not her trade. And would have loved to have kind of, heard what she has to say about something like this, because she certainly nailed it. But
what this could be, Bruce, and I may be totally wrong, may recall a couple of weeks or so ago when we were looking at something like the trade that John took there. As I say, it's dancing your feet, it's swinging, and I'd suggested she try and look at some of those, and maybe it's in that theme, but it might not be.
Okay.
To break away or to add to her arsenal of the ABC sort of trades, and anchored VWAP and everything else. These where you see the volume pick up, the market's moving, get aboard.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm looking for her trend line, or I mean, you can draw it all sorts of ways, but like this would be more like her trade, a pullback, or right in here, or maybe this one, waiting for that pullback again, and then continuation. But anyway, she certainly nailed it, that's for sure. And one thing, again, like, great having John in here and just reaffirming liquidity levels and targets, and how important it is to have that reference. This is what makes the market move. I mean, technically it doesn't make it move, but like this is where there's buyers, and the sellers meet the buyers, and it's an important element, and it's great to have here in Bookmap. Yeah, so I don't know, I just kind of wanted to quickly go over that. She's not in here. I don't know if anyone else has any like Vinny, if you have anything that, have you started to amend your trades a little bit, have to trade a little differently, and maybe is worthy for a little quick round on that.
Yeah, that's a good topic to really talk about in this market. I find that I really kind of adapted in a way where I really look for specific targets. So I've really toned down the amount of trades that I've taken to just specific setups, and I really work with supply and demand zones. And so what I do is I wait for a break of that demand, and then I see it pull back. And when it pulls back and it lines up sometimes with liquidity, or in a low volume zone on the DOM, then it's just, it gives me conviction to go ahead and enter a trade. And typically when I do that, I have a pretty good stop loss of, could be 5 or 6 points. So that's kind of how I adapted it. This market really kind of grooms you into looking for specific setups, because like the other coaches said, and Valley Fan, this market really moves quite rapidly and fluctuates. So that's how I adapt to it, and it takes the emotion out of the trade for me, because I have these setups, and I look for example another break of the consolidation. And so if it doesn't work, and if it falls back under, I'm okay, because the setup was there. It just didn't work this time, and I'll go about getting it the next time. And that's just a real quick brief. And on to the next.
Yeah, Valifan, you wanted to say something? You had something on the topic?
Oh yeah, I didn't know if I was still had permission to speak or whatever, but you guys talk about these trades, and where she took her entry, like there at the top, that's where I would take my entry. And if people want me to, I can start talking more about how to get those tight entries kind of at the top and reading VPA and getting an entry there rather than later and kind of waiting for those other areas. Because to me, getting it there and you're really tight with your stop, but later on, like my stop is going to be at the high of day. So even those other entries, that's kind of what I base on. Can I get my 2-to-1 like off that area and playing this? But if people want to know more about how to range trade and get their entries really tight on that top of that, like I'd be open to focusing more on that if people are interested in it.
Yeah, I mean that sounds great. If you can come up with a few markups and post them, and really, I think more not just that like you nailed the trade, but the reasoning, the checklist behind it. That would
Yeah.
be great because I know like you're looking at your cam levels. If it hits your cam level and you see a little bit of selling, you're in. If it doesn't work out, you're out quickly, and then it's to the next cam level, and you kind of repeat the process. But yeah, just to kind of that would be great. Really fantastic Valley fan.
Yeah, people are interested in like kind of how to read that top of where you would love to take the trade, get that entry out the top and run that whole trade down. Like that's kind of like, that's kind of what I do.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I read. That's
I
where I
mean,
get my level. And
just please include a checklist in there for us.
yes,
Like
no,
it's
I will.
a
I'll
higher,
start focusing more on that.
yeah, the higher time frame level. Like I know that you watch that, you're religious about that, and how important that is. Anyway,
Yeah.
thank you, Valley fan. Let's see. I don't know, John or David,
Sure.
Vinny, Stan, any other questions or like if add to this discussion a bit, if it makes a sense, or we can move on to somebody else if you prefer.
Yeah. Well,
Go on, John.
just as far as making an adjustment, the adjustment I made is to wait a little bit. I don't want to be the first one through, not in these markets. So I'm looking for that volume to come in. And the two trades that you reviewed of mine, they show that. So I want to be behind a bunch of volume, even if it's behind the pivot, if it's not at the top or the top of the day, high of the day. I want to have that volume working in my favor rather than a good entry point. I'll kind of forego that. And then as soon as the volume dries up, that'll be my stop. So I'm not waiting to, I'm not adding to the size of my stop, but rather I'm keying off of volume. That's been the biggest adjustment for me in these markets. And I think that's what David said. You see volume,
Yeah.
you jump on it.
You do. No, absolutely, John. And Bruce, if you can pick up the chart I just posted in the chat, that's from the close just now. So, I'm UK time. That's the sort of trades that I'm taking as a market bouncer, so to speak. I can see I've got some ice coming in. We're coming towards the close. So, yeah, things are getting leveled up, etc., etc. There's a massive increase in buying going on there. We've come through a mid-price level or something. That's where I go, yeah, let's get on board.
Yep.
So it's I won't say it's not a text, but I think we're all saying the similar sort of thing. If we were talking a year back or whatever, yes, I'm looking for those reversal trades, those 180s or whatever they're called, and I'd often be getting in without perhaps enough volume for that trade. Now, I'm going to say this is a breakout trade. I appreciate it's perhaps not a textbook like that, Bruce, but it's exactly that. John and me, I know we take similar trades as we post all day long. Sort of, the volume's there, the volume bars are there. This market's moving. I've got the clock behind me. I'm having a look at the options. Right, I'm going in, and I'm going to go and take out a couple of handles. Market's moving. It's my line of the night for sharp food.
Yeah,
it doesn't always work. Don't get me wrong. It doesn't always work, but at the moment, it seems to be quite a reliable play.
Yeah.
Well,
And that-
it does though work for you. I mean, this is the way that you trade, David, always.
It is. I always have. I know. I try and kid myself. I'm a bit more technical. I'm not, am I really, Bruce?
Outstanding.
I'm sorry, John, you were saying something and I just
No,
ran
I
you over.
concur with David. I just think this market is not the market to try to be pick and choosy in terms of the best spot. I think this is a market to go with volume. Yes, sir.
That's it. Yeah.
And how about if you want to elaborate a little bit on that too? Like, do you want to see, like down here in the chart, you know, this is your kind of average volume here.
Yep.
So are you looking for at least double that? Like, I mean, this is clearly, you know, way, like that's like triple or
more than double. I think. Sorry,
More
John.
than double.
If we look at, if we have John's chart the other day from that London Open on on Tuesday, that what's that, 4 times, 5 times, and it's materially different. Appreciate what's material, but it's like it dwarfs everything else. You go, okay, you know, I've got the gorillas behind me. I got the wind behind me. The puck's going in the right direction.
Yep.
Bruce is going to find it now.
But go ahead, Vinny.
Oh, no, I just wanted to ask the coaches, as well as the audience can really kind of think about this as well. And maybe you know, everybody can provide some feedback. Just a real quick question to everybody, 30 seconds each. When you enter your trade, do you go ahead and enter a market order, or do you enter your limit order? Because the reason why I mentioned that, with the the market fluctuates so much. If we market order in, I mean, it can almost be anywhere. Whereas if you limit order in, obviously it'll come down and hit your target. And then that's kind of how I've adjusted a little bit. I just really look for the setups. And so it comes down, I let it come down, hit my target, and I already have my stop in place. And then, I get my exact target that I want, and then it just, can take off. But I wanted to ask some of the other feedback, and let's go with David.
Yeah, great question. These are market orders. I'm using the phrase much today. I'm just spanking it out. That's what I'm doing. Do get some slippage. I got some slippage today. We had a blip up, and it was all getting a bit ugly, and I had to sort of add in a bit more to sort of neutralize myself out. This is my ninja chart that marries John's chart the other day, which was part of our stereo post that we were having. So again, it's all about volume. It's pretty much identical to what John's got there, and there's some other voodoo going down there with MACD and that, but they're market orders. Long answer, sorry.
Yeah, and sometimes we do that, and sometimes we have to do that. And I'll just toss it to John real quick, 20 seconds.
No on market orders. I would blow my toe off before I put a market order in. I'll enter on the long side by buying the offer, or get in the market by selling the bid. And if it goes too far, too fast without me, then I'll just wait for the next one. But no, that's how I go right now.
I'm on my own.
I'm the dome trader. Buy on the offer, sell on the bid.
Stan the man.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, it depends. It depends. Like, if you see like we can see now a huge anomaly, I will jump on it. I think when it's too big, it's just too big, and yeah, I will enter a market. But then obviously I would prefer to get my limit. But depends if you are to get the timing, or if you want to capture maybe a bigger move. Yeah, depends your objective.
Bruce, would you mind if I ex Valley fan?
Yeah, absolutely.
Valley fan.
Hey, I'm probably like the other extreme side of people who like to market in. Yeah, I limit in like to exactly where I want my entry. I hit the bid, like if I'm going short, I already target in my stop, double click, put in my stop, and I hit the ask. And if I miss it, I'll even readjust my order to exactly where I want. I'll wait for it to come back and get it. If I'm going long, I hit the bid.
Good.
I miss it, I'll readjust the order. But generally, it's just work in the timing, and you can get those limit orders in They work in your favor, especially for your RVR and your risk.
Right, good question. Great stuff.
How about you, Bruce? What about your good self? I mean, I do use both. I'm talking just, sorry, in the context of like the chart I was sharing there into the close. It's like, yeah, market's going back.
Oh, I love it, David. I love the Maverick. I love it. You're like, I get in, I see it, I get in. Like, I love it. I wish I had that feeling and stuff, especially for trend trading. Like, yeah, I'm in now. Market, let me
My
get it.
ball
So,
is 3 inches off the grass, mate. I can assure you, it's there. It's a massive wooden peg, and I'm in a fresh mindset. I'm at it.
I wish I was. I'm maybe 4 inches, David. So I'm trying to get there.
Sounds like baseball, doesn't it? Really?
Yeah, T-ball. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, you guys have seen me like use markets and stop let the market take me into it. I'm looking for that to unfold, and I just find that with there's so much massive volume that it just leaves you behind. You won't get filled. It's all buying. There is no selling. You do see some selling in here, I guess, because of the market open here. There is some selling in here, but a lot of these moves, it's just pure buying for a good stretch of it, and you'll miss the big move. I'll use a market for that and shoot my toe off.
I am, John. I got my 12 gauge.
We all do that.
But in really doing the way I explained, I all week long I may have missed one or two in all my trades, so it really wasn't a big factor. So yeah.
And what market? What this is all the ES though?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense. I mean, like some of these other markets though, you're not going to get filled.
Mad to
Right.
market order.
Great question though, Vinny. Varied responses on that one. Anyway, let's see. Okay, so we've gone over, and then I think I saw Mike M in here, and now he's gone. That's too bad. So he missed his moment. We kept on wanting to get over to Shark. It's been a few weeks, so let's get Shark up. And Stan, you had Shark, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Here. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
All right, Shark, welcome. Up.
Yeah. I don't know if it's here. So yeah, I don't know if he want to go a bit over this trade. It seems a bit different of what he usually do. He was trying to capture some small scalp. So yeah, Shark. I don't know if you want to say something about it.
So this this context change caught me off guard. I took my first trade in June 2021. I missed 2018, 2020. I never really experienced fear capitulation. So when the VIX went to 945 or whatever the hell it went to, I was like, wow. I mean, it's a really wild market. I would plug in my thesis that you all are pretty familiar with, and price would eventually get to my target, but then wild swings would just knock me out every time. So I'm watching my trade idea go to target,
and I'm clocking out red on every single one of them. I did that for days. And then I just kind of stepped back, took a couple of days off. Maybe any live trading I did was with a single micro or two, and just kind of hit replay hard, which I already do that. So I was hitting it extra hard. And just kind of had to, like John was saying, right, make some adjustment time. I actually spent a couple nights lying in bed thinking, man, am I going to be out of a job? So just kind of retooled, rethink things. And what I ended up learning as my trade model here works. It still works. In fact, it works great in the context. I just kind of had to look at it differently, somewhat of a wider lens, and at the same time, just kind of adjust my execution style. See, I see this chart says 2024. It's actually 2025. I'm going to pull it up here real quick. This day is the 15th. So I'm actually looking at my same trade model here. Except I'm looking to just get in and get out. So I'm going to look at my thesis, which is a key level sandwich, whether that key level, in this case, on the bottom end here, you see an intraday key option reversal. I'm looking at my trendline pivot on the other end of the sandwich, and I just want to get in, get a piece of the move. I've been calling it a shark bite, just take my piece of that move and get out. I have the any Truth Social tweet from either JJ or Trump is pinging in the corner of my screen when it pops. And it's interesting to see that at the moment that tweet hits, you'll see one of two things happen. Price either swings, price doesn't do anything. And we have no idea, kind of like Val Fan was saying, we have no idea if it's going to do anything, if it's going to react to that. I'm guessing algos, being that this market is, the book is thin, the volume's high, that makes me think that algorithms are just aggressively responding to perhaps keywords when these things come out. So I will look at my thesis as a whole and hopefully grab some bites out of it along the way. If my trade plan is moving from A to B, I'll get in, get out, get in, get out, get in, get out along the way. You could see I'm walking my entry order down like I plugged in a second there. I'm a stop limit guy. I'm gonna walk my entry order down. I'm gonna get tagged, and I'm gonna once I get a little bit of that bite, I'm gonna move my stop limit exit up so that if price starts to roll over, I'm out of that trade, in and out, and I'll just look for another entry. Right? Entry to me, and this. You've often heard me kind of complain, oh, I got out of this too early, I got out of this too early. In this case, I think getting out too early might be a skill, a skill I can put to use and not let this trade roll over on me, or a book sweep, one of these tweets happening, a book sweep come in and just rush me down to my stop. In this case, my stops are set below that key option reversal. They look, at a glance, they look pretty far. As soon as I get my entry, I just reach over to the other side of that price ladder and bam, I plug in my stop. And then I'm looking for a place. Once I'm in the money, I'm going to plug in another stop to catch price if she rolls over on me. So in this case, this is just what I call the kill zone, which is that area of consolidation where price moves from one side of my sandwich to the other. My 1, 2, 3 reversal triggers, and I'm just getting in and getting out. I don't want to hang out in this market. And it's like I said, I spent a couple nights lying in bed thinking, damn, am I out of the job? But this is working out well the last 2 weeks. I've had a couple really good weeks coming off a couple weeks of some extreme confusion. So I used to be a scalper, pretty damn good at it, I think. I don't want to be a scalper. The last thing I want to do is sit in front of my screen 8 hours and take 40 or 50 trades. You know, my goal has been to get a high probability trade with a high amount of leverage and get two of those, maybe 3 a day, and just be done with work for, in 2 hours. Move on with my day. This, this market just has me kind of building a hybrid. I'm not going to get those big moves. I'm more than happy to just take some bites out along the way and make my money and call it a day.
Yeah, great. I mean, so Shark, I'm just kind of curious, like when things weren't working for you, then your flip or your change to what did you do? Like, if you can walk us through that process of like, okay, this isn't working, I'm gonna have to do something different, and then you came up with a plan and you started to execute it. So how
My
did you
first
go
thought,
around about that?
my first thought is, damn, I just spent 3.5 years of my life building this trade model, and now it doesn't work. Like that moment of doubt and fear. I'm going to be out of a job if I don't figure something out. So I just leaned into replay, and I talk about replay. I post a lot of replay, but I leaned into it extra hard, and I keep my same trade model and focused on the execution portion of the trade. It was pretty heavy adjustment from going from I want this entire move from supply zone to demand zone with 5 contracts. I'm going to grab this entire move. That was the hardest idea that I had to change, right? Because I've a million times I've said I don't want to be a scalper, right? I was a scalper. I am a scalper. I don't want to be a scalper. I want to be a leverage trader. So I just leaned into replay, and it was kind of like the proof is in the pudding, right? I just proved to myself that my trade model still works. I just need to execute it differently. So in this case, this would have been in this kill zone right here. I would have been looking for an entry to take this trade from the key option reversal back up to supply or my trend line pivot high, whatever I have on the other side, maybe an access trigger on the footprint chart. But in this current market, and this day in particular, Truth Social, Trump was on it. He was posting all morning long. And when it happens, price responds or it doesn't. We don't know. So I'll get in, get out, and I did a ton of replay, Bruce. I have actually quite a bit of screenshots to go back through, annotate, and I'll be plugging some into the Academy channel. Just to prove to myself that my trade model still works. I was scared. Like I said, a moment of doubt and fear. I was kind of worried, that I was going to be out of a job because the market changed, and I had only prepared for one type of market. I never experienced this kind of market.
Yeah. Guys, let's see, Vinny. Why don't we start with you? Any comments?
Oh, hi. Okay, yeah. Shark Trader 123. All right. Yeah. You have a terrific 123 setup. Well, you have your strategy of 123, and it looks like that wasn't applied here. From what you were saying, is you adapted to the market, and so now you're scalping the trade. And as far as I see with your setup goes over here, I see your passive orders are absorbed. All right, and you have a liquid target set up, and you exited right where you notice also divergence. Now it looks like you could have gotten 4 points out of that. I don't know how many points you got out, and so that is how you adjusted.
Can you
Have
pull
that correct?
do you have the footprint chart from this one, Bruce?
It's kind of hard to hear you sometimes, Shark. Is this one, is this what you asked for?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is that same trade, Vinny. Do you see the red box and the trend line? That is the same trade model, right?
Okay.
That's my same trade, the Monte Cristo, the one you're familiar with. I'm just breaking it into pieces. So there's my 1, 2, 3 triggering at the bottom.
I see it. Okay. I see what you
Yeah, yeah. So, and
got
you'll
it.
see those green lines are those actual scalps that are on the other chart. You'll see they're triggering out of that little red rectangle that I've plugged in at the volume area of that 5-minute rotation. And I'm targeting the volume area of that other 5-minute rotation. Of course, I didn't get it all the way on all of them, but that's the whole point of me trailing that order up with that stop limit. I'm not going to let this roll over on me. Once I'm in the money, I'm staying in the money. I'm not going to take any heat. I'll just find another entry.
Okay. So right off the bat, right, I can see that you use your 1, 2, 3 right here, and then you also utilize, also you have your trend break. So you have a couple of assets that you have in place, and it looks like you went ahead and got 6 points out of that. Is that correct or about?
Collectively, let me see.
If it got to your
Collectively on the 3 of these, I thought I might have put it in my notes there, but collectively on the 3 of these, I think I pulled 10 points, 20 points. I'm not sure. I wrote it down somewhere.
Okay, I see. I see your numbers a little more clearly. Yeah, and that's where Bruce is drawing your liquid target. Okay, yeah. So I mean that. Yeah. So your strategy and your setups were in place, and you executed the trade to your target. Do I have that correct?
Well, I didn't execute it to the target of the big picture thesis, but I executed as far as price was taking me at the time.
Okay. Was that your liquid target one, or did you adjust and add that liquid target one in?
No liquid target. I was looking at that area from the footprint. So are you looking at the liquidity there where I first got in the trade? Yeah, see, so I'm looking at that red box.
Yes.
So the red rectangle coming off that first 5-minute rotation right there, that's what I'm looking at.
Okay.
That's what I'm calling the top of the kill zone. And if I could
Got
get
it.
from the bottom of the kill zone to the top, it's not what would be the original target of my trade model that you're familiar with, but it's getting from one side of that consolidation to the other. And if I can take a piece of that a couple times, and obviously I wasn't getting the whole thing, but I wasn't going to let price roll over on me and go into the red. So just kind of still looking at the same thing. I've just changed up how I'm executing it.
Okay.
And
Okay. So it looks like you have a double bottom there as well, huh?
yeah, and as you can see, price in this chart, price never made it back to what would have been my original target up at the top where that pivot, where that trend line pivot started.
Okay.
And same thing on my trades today. My bigger picture thesis did not reach target, but I clocked out green out of that trade setup. I'm just not going to let it roll over on me. This is actually something that Donkey Face has preached to me quite often in our private conversations. He doesn't take heat. He's like, can you get 3 points? You get 3 points. Can you find a new entry? Don't take heat. So I've just kind of restructured my execution a bit.
Well, I like the way you use your sub chart and you're going for base hits. So good adjustment. Bravo to you.
With a CVD spike, the VPI CVD spike hits, and especially if it's coming in after I'm seeing price change divergence, when those things hit together and price rolls over, I'm going to get in that trade, and it's going to go in the money every single time. It may only be for 3 ticks or 3 points. It may be 30 points. We have no idea. We just don't know in this current market. So I'm going to get in, I'm going to grab a bite and I'm going to get out, and it's just a happy medium. And I will keep adjusting this. I will stay in replay, and I do believe that the market's going to stabilize a bit, or not. Who knows? Maybe this is what we're trading for the next 4 years.
Well
I'm
said. Thank you
certainly,
very much.
I'm certainly not going to let it take me out of a job. Like I was bummed out. I was freaked out. It took me a couple of days, a week of just a lot of thinking, a lot of missed sleep. Just coming up
Oh,
with a plan.
well, that's another thing. Just real quick, 20 seconds. How are you dealing with your emotion right now? Because that's what it sounds like. You're working a little bit on. It sounds like all of us pretty much are too in this market. But 20 seconds. How do you adapt to that?
Well, I went from that really freaked out spot to really, really excited. I realized that scalping that I was working so hard to get away from is actually a skill set that I can apply in this current context. So I did that flip from, kind of depressed and bummed out and freaked out to excited. I got this. My trade model doesn't only work, it works great. I can take my old form of execution, and I'll share a little bit more of that with the Academy. What I'm scalping, this isn't all I'm looking at. I'm looking at a 3,000 volume chart, and I'm pulling my entries off a 21 exponential moving average and kind of how that moves with the 233 simple moving average. So I'm looking at a 3,000 volume chart. I'm looking at my sub chart right here on Bookmap. I'm also looking at liquidity and just kind of piecing it all together. I still have my supply and my demand and my key option reversal on my tick charts, and I'm just kind of piecing it all together to find a way to move forward in this, currently strange market and still keep working.
Well, all right. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, Bruce, right to you.
No, I'd like to open it up. I mean, we've got some great coaches in here with lots of experience. David, John, Valefan. Start with David. Maybe.
Yeah, sure. Thanks. Yeah, sounds good. No, great discussion points. So appreciate that. I think, Bruce, the sort of wider thing, and I know you're very familiar with the way I trade, and that comes out every week, and people think, oh, okay, but you've seen how I trade. For years, Shock, I've wanted to sort of become that trader that can just waltz in, put on a couple of trades, get on with the day, and go out in the car or do something like that, and it all happens. And let's say I've tried that. I had a period when I was in with Adam Grimes in his trade room, and the guys there, they literally weren't using stops. They were so wide on their gold trades. The price would have to half before it got there. And that was sort of the only way I could get my head around to be able to trade like that. And then I've admitted to myself that I am a scalper now. Sure, what is a scalper? Is it someone that's in the market for 10 seconds, 30 seconds, whatever the metric is? I think I'm a scalper. I'm going to say, John, I think you're a scalper. You can obviously answer that in a moment. And I accept that that's what I do. My usual analogy is here. So, Vinny, do I strike you as someone who's going to sort of, get out the 3-wood on a par 5 off the tee? Probably not. I don't care if the wind's blowing everything else. I'm going to get out my TaylorMade, my 9 degree and so forth with that 4-inch peg of yours. I'm going to have a go with it. So I accept how I trade, and the market changes, yes. And as we talked about a little bit earlier on, in terms of I'm not looking really to get into an early reversal. It's more of a breakout, albeit the same sort of thing, looking at the volume, looking at some other things, and that's what I'm doing. And I accept my flaws, but know I can also rinse out a bit of greenery. Would be my sort of...
That is fantastic, David. Like I said, I have accepted it. All of a sudden, what I was trying not to be has become my skill set, has become my strongest skill.
Yeah.
I got a question. I got a question from Trading Is Life. Wouldn't that lead to over trading? as long as it pays my mortgage and provides for my family,
Exactly.
I'm good with it.
With it, and we mentioned Tom a little bit. I've not been in Tom's room, as you all know. I used to trade with Tom, as Bruce knows. Used to trade with Tom, and Tom has that line. I'm sure he still use it about fattening the broker's yacht account, that sort of thing. So yeah, there's commissions and all the other things, but in the scheme of it, I don't care if I knock out a hell of a lot of trades, as long as I'm green at the end of the day about a bit of fun and so forth. That's really all I'm looking for. Yeah.
Yeah, and in this case,
I'm flawed. Yeah.
In this case, as well as today, my trade thesis failed. Right, my 1-2-3 failed. I never made it to my Monte Cristo sandwich target.
Yeah.
But locked out green here. I believe
Perfect.
these are two contracts each. I think this was in the 20-point range. Today I clocked out. Same thing. It was only one entry, one in, one out. My thesis failed, but I clocked out 10 points green. And I think that's what really matters in this context.
It does. And if I can pull another thread here, sorry, John, and everyone else on the thing. And again, when we had Trader HE on a few weeks ago, and that was brilliant catching with HE. And the thing that caught me there, Bruce, when he said, "No, David, it was 2018," because I keep saying it's about 2020 or something else. I didn't realize it went back that sort of far. But back then, I won't say I was like Scott, but my screens had, if there was a futures for it, it was there. Whether it was cattle, lean hogs, everything was there. And I was just batting myself around all these assets, trying to think I was Gordon Gekko or Wolf of Wall Street and Margot Robbie in the bath, trying to trade. And there were various people I was speaking to, like Will Shire, that we talk about ORB and so forth, and also Chris Knox, who's a good friend. And they were like, "What are you doing?" I'll try not to swear here, Bruce, but it was like, what are you doing? End of the day, if you just pick something, one or two things, like John does, like I do now, if you can get green on it, whoopee-doo. No one gives a damn down the club what you've been trading. The fact is, have you made some money or not? That's what we care about. John, help me, please. Dig me out of my big hole.
No help needed. I absolutely concur with what you said. I think Sharp nailed it best, though. You identify the market that you're in and you trade to it. The fascinating thing about what we do is that it requires change. We're always changing. Technology is changing. The availability of data is changing. So we're always evolving. We're always trading and changing our trading approach. For me, I'm somewhat of a scalper, but today I was a madman scalping because it was there and it made money. I probably did, 12 or 15 of them. I saw volume come in. I saw 3 handles of daylight before the next liquidity level. It was there, so I took it, and it was,
Beautiful.
far away from a pivot. I mean, it was late as far as, a strategic point to get in, but it was there. And so I think he nailed it right on the head. If you have to scalp, and trade what you see, and identify it. There's going to be days where I don't touch it. And that's something, I was in the same boat that Shark was. I said a month ago, I don't like these markets. I'm going to start looking at crude. I'm going to start getting up before the chickens and trade the London Open. But, having done it for the past month, I know that's not going to last because it's beating me up. It's hard,
It does do.
I've been wondering when you sleep, John, because
it's a beating,
He does sleep. You do, John. 'Cause the other day, sorry, you did say I'm going to bed now or something like that. We all say good night to you.
hour.
Are you?
Went
Where do
10
you live,
handles
John?
and,
Are you? Where do
rolled
you
back
live?
over, went to bed. But
Where do you
yeah,
live?
I'm sorry, East Coast,
Where do you
USA.
live? Oh yeah,
East
well
Coast.
I'm in Mountain Time, so that would I understand like getting up and trying to trade that, but
Yeah,
it would be 2 hours earlier for me.
it's hard, and then when the markets do get volatile, you need to be on. You need to be at your best, and if you're wiped out, that's no good. But no, I think Shark nailed it perfectly. And if you can scalp your way to prosperity, you go for it, boy.
Admit it. Admit your flaws. There's some great questions here in terms of forex, Bruce. I've traded a little bit of forex. I think you have, John, once or twice. You've had a couple of the sort of 6 different currencies up or whatever. But we don't trade enough forex, Bruce, do we?
I mean, we have the currency futures with the CME.
Yes, we do.
And the
with the
liquidity's in there.
6E and
So
Yeah, the
So I
6E
don't
doesn't
think the
work.
MBO works properly, does it? Sorry.
I think the icebergs, I can't recall. One of them doesn't work. Stops are icebergs, and I think it's the icebergs.
doesn't work.
Anyway,
But it's good for charting. Good for charting. In terms of the other question that was in there, in terms of automated, if that was directed to I guess all of us. I do use on Ninja. Some of you will recall some sort of semi-automatic, but I'm still a discretionary trader where I'm making the decision to get in, but then Ninja can take care of my stop management. It's a little bit more sophisticated than a trailing stop, that sort of thing. But in terms of entry decisions, I make those alone. I have over years tried to automate that with Blackburn, but I don't have the kahunas to do that, I'm afraid.
No.
To sit here at my screen.
No.
Have you ever tried it?
I want to circle back to Vinny's question really quick,
Yeah.
if I could. How am I dealing with this emotionally? Because this has been the biggest part of it. Is you get so frustrated, just getting knocked out of your position to see it go to target, over and over for days and days. And so I started stepping away from the market at times that I normally wouldn't have. I have not been watching the RTH Open. I've been sitting on the couch watching TV with my dog, having some coffee. And I'll come in half an hour after the RTH Open, and I'll just quickly see what pre-market levels, what intraday levels, the odds reversal, the stuff I'm pulling off my footboard. I'll see where those are setting up. I'll drag my higher time frame supply and demand levels over, and then I'll flip around to the drafting table behind me, 180 for my trading desk, and I fill out a pre-market worksheet. Right, this is something I do with pen and paper, and this is where I control. This is where I control my emotions. Right, I'm listing what I value the most, which is the reason I'm working this hard. I take a perspective on my emotional state. Stress, energy, my mood.
Nice.
I'll write down some emotions. I pull them right, what I'm feeling, and I'm looking at an emotion wheel when I do that, and I just list 5 or 6 single word emotions, and I write down some observations, right? What DNT called the most important question. What's on my mind from yesterday? Is it baggage? What are the strengths and qualities I'm bringing with me into my trading today? What's the most important thing I need to focus on, which lately has always been patience, 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 and more patience. That's waiting for that key level, right? Once I'm at that key level, it's go time. I'll take that entry like you see here multiple times, but I'm not gonna mess around outside of those key areas, whether it's liquidity, my key auction reversal, the supply and demand, whatever we all see as our key levels, that's where the trade has to happen. And doing that has taken a lot of the franticness of watching the market open and these psychotic swings, and then Trump tweets, and being in front of the screens for that can get me pretty emotionally heightened. But skipping all of that noise and coming in half an hour later, taking time to touch base with myself, ground myself with my values, and then focus on the key levels that have set up, rather than sitting there watching price hop all over the place while they've set up, has been a really huge advantage into, I think, making that switch from feeling like I'm out of a job to having a couple really great hits.
Stan, anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, but thanks for all your explanation. I just find a bit aggressive for the entry, but still, you explained all the reasons for it, so that's great. Just bring a sort of checklist to help a new member to understand maybe the charts, but yeah, just great job.
Any
as usual.
I'm wondering also, Stan, about you and your trading and changing in different market environments.
At that time, I have done like more analysis about the range and volume, about days, and so I just trade at this time 1 trade per day on GC. Let's move lower after for 9:30. Yeah, no, sorry, 10:30 New York time.
Mhm.
And I'm just looking for 1 trade per day, and if it works, okay. If not, all right. But for me, yes, at that time, it's I can't see anything. It's moved just too fast. It's not what I used to see, and yeah, that's the main thing that I will do at this time. It's lower the number of trade that I will take and try to take just 1 good trade per day.
Yeah.
That's my politic.
All right. So varying responses here. Changing up things, trading less, trading different markets. Looking for smaller moves, widening out, or trading smaller. Lots of different things. Replay mode. Go back and readjust and look at things. Kind of fascinating to hear, John, you saying that no, I see 3 points on a volume move and I'll take it.
Yep.
And I'm kind of floored because very, very specific. You're looking for something on your higher time frame. We've seen nothing but that trade, and then it's like, no, I smoke cigarettes out on the porch every night, or I mean, whatever it might be. Like it's like a whoa, like it wasn't experience. It wasn't. I was kind of shocked to hear that.
Well, when the bill collector comes, you got to have it, right? So,
Yeah.
trade what I see.
So,
Um,
but I mean, then how do you, if it's outside of your setup though?
it really isn't outside my setup. I have things going for me. I have the option flow going for me. What I'm saying is that it might be like midway between two pivots where I would already be in the trade. If
Okay.
it's just a real isolated example, and I saw it so many times today. You had this flurry of income. So
Yeah.
I have a specific scalping process.
Got you.
Right.
Okay.
So, I have my trade process, which is what I showed in the room here. But I have an abbreviated version of that where I have, things working for me, but I'm not at near a pivot point where I like to be. So it'll be midstream. So yeah, I have a specific scalping process that I have tested historically. It's not really what I like to do, but I've reduced my size to the micro level, so I'm trading the equivalent of a single contract now, right? So it's entering 3, 3, and 3, 9 micros and taking 3 off, or entering 5 micros and taking 5 and 5, something like that. So I reduced my size dramatically. But when I see those, yeah, I take them.
Yeah.
And I'm scaling into these too, right? So I see the volume coming in, and I'm scaling in. So it really needs to keep working in my favor. I'm just going to get right out.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Great discussion, guys. I mean, I think we're gonna have to wrap it up here. But like we covered a lot of different things, kind of a little outside the norm. Talking about trading these different markets, emotional state, the oh God, I can't even remember some of the other things that we were talking about in terms of the varying your trading and
Adapting to losses.
exactly. Yeah, great stuff. And this is something that is, I think, really great about the academy here is, we've got what, six coaches in here, that 7 coaches, and or people speaking right now with a lot of experience. We can kind of learn from each other, lean off of, learn from and lean on each other for some of these things. And this is part of the academy, which I really enjoy.
It is, Bruce, and if I repeat a thing I think I've probably said over the past, if I dare say, year or so, is that back to my various sport analogies, Bruce, is that we're all playing the same game, but we play in our own slightly different way. And as you say, there's bits that I'm trying to think, I like what John's doing. I'm going to copy him. I'm going to take a bit of that into mine. But we are all different. And that's about, like we were talking about, scalping, not scalping, those sort of trades. It's playing your own game. And we do play all our own game, but the community we've got here, Bruce, it's a team. Yeah. If that makes any sense.
Yeah. No, great stuff. Guys, final words. John, I'm sorry I keep on interrupting you. And we'll wrap it up.
Thank you. Bruce, you sound better. I'm relieved to hear you sound better. I was worried.
Yeah, much better.
I told David, I said, geez, if he doesn't make it, what are we going to do?
What are we going to do? Yeah.
Oh, no. Game over. But
masters.
Thank you. I enjoyed it. I learned a lot, and I really appreciate being here. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, everybody, for all your content, and thank you, coaches. Great discussion, and we'll catch up with you. Enjoy the day off. No market tomorrow. It's Good Friday, so we'll catch up with you guys on Monday. All right.
Yep. Brilliant. Take care, everyone. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
Good job.
Yeah, bye.